Turbo. So yes, it is my old car, the one what's the top link in my bio. So the story with the car and the amount of messages I've had off people wanting information off the car is unreal. So I just thought I'd compile this video, basically with a timeline since it's left me and my opinion of the car. Is it worth buying, and what do I think that's happened to it? Right, so the car was never up for sale. I had a message from the, well, I say current owner, he doesn't own it, insurance company owns it now, so the last owner, wanting to buy the car. I didn't want to sell the car, but at the time, when that car was built in 2012, so it's been built 12 years, albeit a few changes. So when that car was built, I paid £1,000 for that car, for a rolling shell with all the shuts, everything. So you can imagine they weren't worth a great deal. So I could build what I want. So that's what I did. I built my ultimate RS Turbo, or what I thought was my ultimate at the time. So the car, I did 20,000 miles in that car since it was built, with a Z-Tech Turbo. The first engine blew up, I rebuilt it, built the engine with tool steel alloy pins. But anyway, the engine in my car had done 10,000 miles of abuse. I'd gone through a lot of changes, a lot of R&D on the car, bits and bobs, and you know what they're like, they're never ever finished. So I got a message 2020, will I sell the car? Well, the market for RS Turbos changed. Gone were the days of the big power RS Turbos with a chrome, and they were gone. It turned to the Blue Bolt brigade. Everyone wanted standard original cars. So I always knew, not that I'd struggle to find a buyer because there's a buyer for everything. If I wanted to get decent money, my buyer for that car was Select. So I got a message, do I want to sell the car? It's at this point, I'd put that much R&D into the car, and I'd had it 8 years. You know, I'd still got my Mark II Escort and a few bits, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, I'll sell it. So I said to the last previous owner, I'll sell it, but there's a few jobs I want to get sorted. He said, yeah. So went out in the car, live mapped it with my mate Jason. We was pulling 160s down the M1. It was running sweet. It was running 2.2 bar on a GT30. Must have been doing over 500 horsepower. It was absolutely bonkers. Come back, perfect. No misfires, no nothing. Parked the thing up in garage. There was a little oil leak on it I needed to find. For a couple of other little jobs that needed doing. However, I was message constantly, when do you think it'll be done, when do you think it'll be done, and to the point the last owner says, I'll take it as it is, but knock some money off. So I did. So that's what I did. So driving it down to where he lived, it developed a misfire, and I couldn't put my hand on what it was. And later, it turned out to be the steel oil feed pipe, because the starter motor on the Focus RS box was at the back. The oil feed pipe come around the back. When the engine was rocking under hard boost, it was arcing out, and I could just, obviously driving it, you could never find it. And eventually, anyway, he found it. So that's sort of that. However, I drove the car from Lincolnshire. You've got to remember where I live in Lincolnshire, South Yorkshire, Doncaster, Scunthorpe. We don't have traffic here. It's all country roads, tractors, horses. We don't have traffic. We don't sit in traffic. Now, the last owner who bought it lived in Kent, right in the city centre. So I drove the car down there. Bear in mind, I knocked him the money off so we could take it somewhere and have a look at that misfire. So that's what happened with the car. So I knocked him some money off, give him a list of jobs, said that's what it needs doing, leave it be. So that car ECU had safety functions built into the ECU. So if it hit a certain temperature, it cut out. So I drove the car all the way from Doncaster all the way to Scunthorpe. Bear in mind, this car, I drove down to Kent before, drove locally, were in nice cool days, did track day at Brands Hatch, and then drove it all the way back up to Yorkshire. So this car, I had no qualms with it. So I drop the car off, happy days. He goes out in the car, first time, on the hottest day of the year at the time. Sitting in traffic, as you do. You know, he's just bought a car, he wants to go out in it. You know, it's what we do. Sits there in traffic. I mean, they're not the biggest radiators on these, and there's a lot of heat soak with a manifold. It hit the over temperature function, and what it did, it retards the timing. So it basically wanted to cut itself out because it was trying to save the engine so it didn't boil the engine. So he drags it home, tries to start it, starts spinning, burns the starter motor out. So it sits there for months. My ex dad lived in there, so I went round. He'd fitted a starter motor to it. So bear in mind, this car is a highly strung car. You need to be well up on maintenance. You need to know these things. You need to be very knowledgeable and be able to fix these. And I'm not knocking the last owner, but his skill set wasn't right for that car. The car was too highly modified, too highly strung for what his capabilities. So obviously I'm down there. I offered to go down and look at the car for him. Went down, checked. I think I've got one of the videos. So went down, checked. He'd put a starter motor on it, gone out in the car, running around in it, but not linked the link wire from the starter motor back up to the alternator. So again, what do you think's happened when he's gone out? He's put the starter motor on it, fired straight up. He's gone out in it. What do you think's happened? Yep, he's ran out, battery flat, battery empty. So gets towed home again. Still not sure with it, still scratching his head. It sits there for months again. So bear in mind, if he's ran it low voltage, he's ran the fuel pump low, the injector duty cycle's completely way out of scale. And it's had its head kicked in. Last time I saw a video of a car actually running, it was smoking its bag out. It was blue smoking. Now that to me is either bore washed it, running it rich, because if the injector duty cycle and pumps not up to pressure, not up to full voltage, it's going to send fuel in all over. He's either bore washed it or killed the turbo. So next time he gets the car, I went round, got it all running, what have you. So he takes the car to Sabre Tuning. Sabre Tuning, look through the map, turn around to him and say, who's mapped it? Because there's nothing up with the map. Well, I mapped the car myself and I did 20,000 miles on it. You know, it was running 2.2 bar boost on a GT30, 1050cc injectors. It was boogieing. You know, I did map it properly. However, he's took it to them. That's when they found that fault with the oil feed line. So they'd not found it. He found that afterwards. So he took it to Sabre. But he plugs the ECU in, said, but can't see what's up with it. Everything's doing what it should do. They don't know why it's hitting that brick wall. So they flash the ECU back, but don't tell it it's got external coil amps. So what it does, it melts the coils. Literally bent them. So he gets it trailered back home, puts it in garage. I go around again, tries to get the car running, looked at it straight away, plugged computer in, went through everything. I knew, pulled coil pack out, it was like a banana. I knew straight away what they'd done. Went into the ECU. As true as I sit here, they hadn't told it it's got external coil amps. So the ECU's trying to charge the coils, but also they're already charged because they're linked direct to the power feed, so they're getting double charged. So they just burnt the coils out. So I reload a map on, set it, put new coils in, boom, running, back on. That's it. You know, I can't be 250 miles away and be a mechanic, full-time mechanic for the car that I've sold. You know, I will help and stuff, but I can't be that person, can I? So it is what it is. So next thing, you know, is oh, will you have a look at car? Will you go through it? So I said, yeah. So as far as I'm aware, I'm waiting for this car, me to get a bit of time, and I was going to get the car trailered up and I was going to go through it and get it all sorted for it. Next thing, I get a link sent to me. It's on Copart. I'm like, well, I don't get this because previous owner's not told me what's happened. He's not told me it's on Copart. So I messaged him and I get, well, yeah, set on fire, dodgy wiring. Bear in mind he's had this car 4 years and it's not set on fire, and it's not set on fire all the time I've had it. Dodgy wiring, set on fire. It were at front of my house on chart. It were at front of my house. Could have set me. My kids are in bed. Blah blah. But basically trying to put a bit of guilt trip. Well, how I felt, a bit of guilt trip on me. Well, look, I have actually looked through the pictures, and it was sat there. And do I think there's actually an electrical fault with the car? Absolutely not. I think, and I'm going to show you now, I'm going to go through and I'm going to screen record what I see and I'm going to explain it to you in director's mode. And I want you to look at this and explain and understand if you think I'm on the ballpark, because I don't think the car has set on fire itself like I have been told. I believe a battery charger has set that car on fire, and I'm going to show you and I'm going to explain why I think this. So this is where the car was parked, and I'm putting this on because I am a bit pissed off really that I've kind of had a bit of guilt trip put on me when I don't feel it's right. So as you can see, that's the car. You can see that by the towing eye. This is at front of the house. Not disclosing his house or wherever it is. However, you can see that wire there. That links up to the house. Now, this wire isn't a double outdoor socket. This is just some like extension lead just stuck out front wall. And then I did see another picture. It was like just doubled, like wrapped around the post. So this is going to the car, 100%. I think we can all agree that, because we can see it coming up. So that's coming up to the driver's side over the driver's side wing. So let's look at the damage on the car. This is a screenshot of Copart. So we can see, I was told it was burnt all the way back up to the ignition. So the ignition feeds are taken from the fuse box, and the fuse box takes its ignition, a power feed from the battery. But if anyone knows RS turbos, the wires go underneath and feed through the bottom of the fuse box, and then they come out. And you can see the one which runs down this inner wing all the way down is intact. You can see the sheathing. So all this got unsheathed, untaped, and we basically, when I built the car in 2012, any redundant wiring we took out. The other link up just links up down under the bulkhead here, and just like if I recall, start motor trigger, I think we'd got start motor trigger, oil pressure light, basically not really many wires down there. However, that's all intact. You can see that's the idle speed control valve on the inner wing intact. So here there is no wiring which runs down there. The only bit of wiring runs down this inner wing. So the main ECU wire, let me just get a picture of the engine bay from when I had it. So this is a picture of the engine bay when I had it. So you can see clearly here, look, out of a fuse box you've got one loom ran up here, which you can clearly see is exactly as it was. Spade terminal, which I believe, can't remember what that was, it's like I say a long time. You see just this little bit of wiring loom here, that went to nowhere. So what you had on the bulkhead here, everything on it was standalone. So the main ECU harness, direct to the battery through a relay, took a switch live from the fuse box. Fuel pump wire, direct to the battery through a relay, took switch live from the ECU. Fan loom, standalone, went round to the front to the fans, took a signal wire because it was ECU control from the ECU. So you can see here now the only wiring this run down this inner wing was headlight wiring. Pretty much headlight and indicator wiring, that is it. And you can see the fuse box there, you can see how over top. You can see on the picture of, where are we? Let's go back. Yeah, let's go back here. So you can see the fuse box. If that had a fire in the fuse box, there is no way that top of that fuse box would look like that. You can see the fire has been to the front face. You can even still see that wire is intact. All the sheathing and everything's intact. So you can see what has set on fire is the polybush. What wiring round there has got that hot enough to set a polybush on fire? There's no wiring next to it. There's nothing to set that. There's nothing in the inner wings. There's nothing to set that polybush on fire. So, what is my thoughts on this car? So, let me pan back. You can see here, right? So you can see we've got bubbled up paint. So there's been a fire in the wheel arch. You can see bubbled up paint on the arch, and you can see the wheels dropped. The wheels dropped because the polybush has dropped. But you can also see the smoke, what's come down the arch, been like flickered up the arch. There's been no fire on the top of that wing. So what I believe is, can you see that clean patch there? Why is there no smoke damage on there? Why? There's no smoke damage. Something has been sat there and it's been pulled off. It's pretty obvious in my opinion. Something's been sat there. So the top of the fuse box hasn't melted, but the front face has, meaning the fire started in this location. To me, it's had a battery charger over the wing, sat on that inner wing. The battery charger has shorted out or melted or got water in it or what have you. It's set on fire. It's then set the polybush on fire. The polybush, you can even see where the polybush has been on fire. It's dribbled down and it's actually ran round the object what was there and then ran down towards the header ball. Obviously, then the remainder of the polybush has dripped into the wheel arch, sat on the wheel, and then obviously been on fire under there, and which is led up and done that. So once it's been put out, the remainder mess of whatever has been sat there has been taken off. And I can assure you now, looking at that wiring, that is the only wire comes out of the fuse box. There's no wiring there. So for me to be told that car is set on fire due to dodgy wiring, is, I kind of feels laughable. I mean, you can see, look, the coil pack wires are all still intact. You know, that he's had this car 4 years. That hasn't set on fire through any fault of the car wiring. Now, my honest opinion of a car. Do I think the car's worth buying? Yes, I do. However, whoever buys it needs to take into account, one, it'll either need a turbo rebuild. Two, it needs either an engine rebuild due to its smoking, due to it I believe it's been either bore washed or the turbo shagged. But killed the turbo because it's just been bounced off the limiter for TikTok. Last video I did see of a car, it was smoking its bag out and it never ever blew smoke. I've got videos of that thing on track days. It's never blew smoke. It never smoked when I dropped it off. So I don't know what's happened. There were several jobs on the car still which needed to be done. The front brake calipers, the push brakes on some discs, they have been just fitted with spacers. I'd actually told the last owner that it needs some proper spacers milling up. It was fitted with washers just to get right offset so it could work out. It was a job that was never completed. Also, the brake is on a pedal box, is a bias pedal box. So what happens? So we didn't have to weld onto the frame. It was built with a lobster back frame, and the pedal box, the end was cut. So the bias bar needed a lock nut. Never ever put a lock nut on it because I always was going to run an adjustable winder. But once we saw how much the pedal box moved, we couldn't fit a winder because of how the framework come down. So it never ever got a lock nut. So when I dropped the car off, I wound it, all adjusted it up, and I told him, I said, look, it wants the dash pulling out and it needs a lock nut on that pedal box because and he's yeah. Never fitted one, and I believe it's never had one fitted to this day. So it's more bias for the rear brakes. So whoever buys this car needs to really, but we need to take the dash out, just go over everything. It's been built 12 years. What would I change on the car? So there'd be a lot of things I'd change on my car. Bear in mind it was built 12 years ago. I probably didn't have as much money as I do now when I built that. So what I would do is I ran the inlet manifold to a separate vacuum unit, and then all my vacs takes off that. I'd do away with that completely. I'd have a complete new inlet manifold made and do the takeoffs direct to the manifold to avoid another contact point where it possibly could leak air. BCU DTI S60 on the car. Throw it in bin, to be honest. I've had a fuel tech on my Mark II Escort and I can't think it's night and day. Even if you didn't put a fuel tech on show and just had it away, I'd definitely look at something, maybe a max ECU or fuel tech, something that just for drivability is really nice on. The DTA I just found very clunky, bit older. Bear in mind it is an old ECU, a really old ECU. Getting towards the age of like Emeralds and Omex. They do the job, but there is a lot better on the market. I'd throw the ECU in the bin. Not well, I wouldn't. You'd sell it, but you get the gist. Inlet manifold changed, 100%. I want a bias pedal box nut on the car. It needs engine either re-ringing. Now, the engine has got Supertech pistons and Eagle rods with tool steel alloy pins. So yeah, I'd look at that and I'd go over everything. It's showing, could see bits of corrosion in places. That car was used hard, all weathers, track days, but it always did clean up well. So my outcome of it is it a good buy? Yeah, I do think it's a good buy, especially at the money it's at. What do I think it's worth? I kind of feel, well, for me to buy it back, I wouldn't buy it back. And the reason buy why I wouldn't is the previous owners took the private plate off it, and that's killed the car for me. That was the plate. I don't think that plate suited any other car, but it is what it is. Not my car. His car does what he wants. Killed it for me. So I couldn't look at the car in my garage without the number plate again. So it is what it is. Is it a good buy? Yeah, it is. But whoever needs to buy it needs to factor. They probably want to pull the engine bay out, go through it, tidy the welding on the back mount, because it actually broke the back mount, and it was quickly plated up one afternoon, and do you know what, it's never been readdressed. So the back mount definitely needs readdressing on my car because it's not pretty, however it's held. Like I said, engine or turbo, one of them needs looking at. Pedal box definitely needs looking at. An ECU, I'd probably, like I said, look at that, just completely change that, and basically just go through the car. I mean, whoever buys a car, if they do want to ring me, I know everything about that car. I can run through them and see, and guide them really what parts are fitted, because it's got, the hubs have been ground out on the castings. The hubs was milled for one-piece bearings. But there's a lot on the car. The outer hubs are actually turned down Fiesta Mark 7 ST. There's a lot of things on the car that are really bespoke, and someone clued up would probably eventually find out what they are. But yeah, I'm open. Whoever buys the car, if they do want to get in touch with me, just drop me a message, drop me your phone number, I'll give you a call. If you are local, I would nip round. And have a look and run you through things. Might make a list. I do still have the maps. The map on the car, I will tell you now, it's detuned. I detuned that by 20-30%. Will I have a map for the car for 2.2 bar boost? Possibly somewhere. If I look on my old laptop, it will be there. I 100% detuned that car because there was no way I was giving that car over at the power level it was, so it was detuned. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Study the pictures. I'm not saying I've been lied to. However, I don't believe that car is set on fire. I genuinely don't. The only wiring inside the car was the stack clocks, which was wired just to the old instrument plugs. There's a towed alarm in there, which was actually fitted with all the dash. Would I rewire the car? Yeah, I would rewire it all, because I wanted to keep it all RS Turbo, so I still wanted the central lock and still wanted it to look in, which is why it's got the stack analog clocks. I still wanted it to look like an RS Turbo. What's the owner done to it in the time it's had, apart from stick that horrendous roll cage in it, which looks like it's been made out of pipe fittings? He's stuck a roll cage in it and jacked the bonnet up and stuck some fog covers on. That's it, really. Unfortunately, I'm not knocking previous owner. His car to do what he wants, but I just genuinely think that car was far too much maintenance. You need to understand it. You need to know tuned cars. It was far beyond it. It would have been much better with a bog standard Zetec turbo, running a complete basic management, running wastegate pressure. That's it. I think, but that would have been okay. But it was just too highly strung. It did need regular upkeep. Every time you'd come, you'd be like, right, let's address that. It was to the point though, it was getting, it was good. I mean, it had to be good. I drove all the way down to Kent in it, did a full track day at Brands Hatch and come back home. And then when I handed the keys over, I drove it all down. I just kind of feel it needs someone who's going to take it, strip it, go through it, freshen everything up, give it a new lease of life, put it on a newer ECU. So anyway, you've seen the pictures, you've seen them on Copart. I will let you guys be the judge whether you think that car is set on fire with a wiring in the engine bay. Bear in mind, there's no smoke damage or anything on the clocks, ignition, or anything inside the car. It all looks okay from the pictures. But I'll leave that to you to make your own decision. So, cheers for coming back, guys, and look after yourselves. Don't forget, like and subscribe. I am going to be back on making videos on Mark II. So I have been sidetracked by my Land Rover trying to get that boxed off. But yeah, cheers for coming back, guys. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy.